on our own YouTube page. Just tap on your phone or your laptop, Nighttime Heat. And of course, you're going to watch the show on YouTube, and you also subscribe to our YouTube page. Also on your Facebook page, just tap, go to where they have the search and you tap Nighttime Heat. Again, you're going to watch the show on your Facebook page, and you also share the show. We want you to share the show for your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, all of them, in fact, to be on top of what is happening tonight on the Nighttime Heat. So when I come back, I will tell you basically what we'll be talking about. But tonight promises to be very fantabulous and very interesting. Sabo George is my name. We'll be right back after the same.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's start.
Let's start, and of course, we've started already. We're right here. So, the issues tonight that we'll be looking at would include. I'm sure you heard the news. I woke up to the news this morning about Liberia's election as chair of constituency 15 of the African Development Bank. And of course, guess what? Who has been elected? That's the Minister of Finance, Augustine Kpehi Gafwa. He's still flying the flag. We'll be talking about that, my panelist. And now when Moses comes on, we'll be talking more about that. But first, we'll be speaking with Mohammed. Let me get it right. He's Mohammed Quina. He's from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and of course, he's traveling with a delegation. He's in the thick of what is happening in Abidjan. We'll talk more about that. I'll be conducting an interview with him very, very shortly. And also tonight, we'll be trying to figure out whether political disagreement has now become a threat. Whether if you do disagree politically, you're going to be framed as someone or labeled or branded as someone who's trying to create some instability, like we are hearing. So we'll be figuring that out tonight. And of course, tonight is an all media discussion. We'll have media people coming on the program tonight. And of course, going to discuss it from the perspective of the media. But very, very shortly, we try to connect with Mr. Quina. Mr. Quina is traveling with the delegation. Again, please share the show. We are streaming live on our Facebook page. Just go on your phone or your laptop and tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you do so, you'll begin to watch the show live, and you can also share the show. Besides, you can go on your YouTube channel and you tap Nighttime Heat, and you watch the show on YouTube, and you also subscribe. We just don't want you to watch the show, but you can also subscribe. This show, again, let's stick this. We'll continue to have the form that this show is the one it's different from other shows around, especially during the nighttime. This is a show that has no boundary. In fact, it reflects all the views, those in position, those opposition, those non-position. They can all come on this program and we discuss Mama Liberia. Our interest is to just herald the need to protect and improve our own country. That's our responsibility. And so this show, it's basically intended for that, where everyone can come on the show. Whatever views you have, you can come. This show has no political connection, no political linkage. No politician can come to say, "Oh, I'm the one behind this show," or "I'm the sponsor of this show." Absolutely not. This is a show that you hear all voices, dissenting, supporting. They all can come on this program, and on this program, and we speak about Mama Liberia. Let me get my producer quickly so that we can connect with Mr. Queener. Mr. Queener is traveling with the delegation of the Ministry of Finance. They are in Abidjan. They went for a very important meeting, and of course, this morning we woke up to the news of the election of the chair of the constituency 15 of the African Development Bank, and of course, you know who's the president who has been elected. It's Augustine Kwehi Gafwan, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. He has been elected, but we intend to hear more from Mr. Queener. We're trying to connect with Mr. Queener. As soon as we get him, we put him on the line quickly. We're trying to connect with Mr. Queener, and of course, we'll soon have him on the show. We are awaiting our panelist, Moses Sandy. As soon as Moses call us, we make sure to put Moses on, and we talk about Mama Liberia. Again, share the show. We are also live on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Again, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Also, we are streaming live on our YouTube page, our Facebook page. Just go on your phone and you tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you do so, you're going to watch the show and also subscribe on your YouTube channel, and you share the show on your Facebook page. Let's speak with Mr. Queener now. Mr. Queener is now on the line. Mr. Mohammed Queener, welcome to the Nighttime Heat tonight.
Good evening, and it's a pleasure, Mr. Sobo George, to be on the Nighttime Heat from Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, this wonderful evening.
Okay, so this is the show that incorporates, that allows all voices, what are dissenting, what are supporting, what are those in opposition, those not in position. Everyone can come on the show, and then we talk about Mama Liberia. It's nice having you tonight as the man who has been positioned to tell us more about what's happening in Abidjan. But do you care to have us informed, first of all, about the meeting? We understand that the Minister of Finance has been elected as chair of the constituency 15 of the African Development Bank. But first, we wanted to bring us up to speed. What is this constituency 15?
Let's talk about generally what has been happening here in Abidjan, and then we'll go to some of the specifics. Sideline meetings being held by the minister and his delegation.
Okay.
The minister and his delegation arrived here on Saturday, and then on Sunday there was this meeting with the head of the Africa Water Facility and his team. And that meeting was also attended by the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mr. Muhammad Ali. And that meeting was intended to convince the African Water Facility that mobilizes and deploys financial and human resources to ensure water supply in Africa, to help Liberia in its drive to ensure water is available and sanitation is improved. And so the governor of the ADB in Liberia delegation made the case for Liberia. In the near future, there will be some good news on their intervention in helping Liberia water supply is made great, and also to improve sanitation in our country. So that was held on Sunday. Then on Monday, the minister and his team attended this inaugural members forum organized by the African Legal Facility. The African Legal Support Facility is an international organization hosted by the AFDB and is intended to provide practical hands support doing negotiation of contractual agreements between governments and investors. And Minister Gafua has taken a keen interest in this, especially with some of the agreements we have in our country, and the government drive ratify some of the agreements in our country. And so the work for the people, and then the people can feel the impact of their government. And then it came up to Tuesday yesterday, where the official program or the official ceremony to commence the outgoing president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Adesina, has here in Abidjan for the ADB, and so this is his final term, and he's buying out. So say, but we thought that all of the news from Ivory Coast that this were an foreign group. Ivory Coast is calm, and the president of Ivory Coast delivered a very good statement to the delegates at the ceremony on yesterday. And then the first sitting of the Board of Governors took place. In that first sitting, our Honorable Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Gossip Gafua, who is the chair of the Standing Committee on the Condition of Service for Elected Officials of the ADB, to the Board of Governors, and board was endorsed. And this committee is placed together to set salaries for the president of the ADB and the 20 executive directors of the ADB, and our fund was on top of that, and for the Board of Governors. And then today, Wednesday, there were several meetings, meeting of the Board of Governors and other meetings held here in Abidjan by the delegation. And there have been a whole lot of the constituency 15 side meeting, annual meeting that took place, and then our minister was elected as the chairperson of constituency 15. And that was the question came in.
Okay, so do you care to tell us about what is this whole constituency and what does it mean for the election of Minister Gafua?
Constituency 15 consists of the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Sudan. And so before the election of Minister Gafua, the Honorable Minister of Finance for Sierra Leone, who is the governor of Sierra Leone, Honorable Sheku A.F. Bangura, was the chairperson of this constituency. And so when the constituency met on Monday, they elected Honorable Gossip Gafua as a new chairman for a period of 3 years. So on August 1 this year, the chairmanship of this constituency goes to Liberia, and the Minister of Finance and Development Planning will be the chairperson for 3 years. Also, Liberia is now giving up the executive director position for 5 years. Mr. Rufus N. Dakute was the executive director on Liberia's slot, and so he's giving that out now to Sudan. Another person has been nominated and will take over as the executive director of Constituency 15. executive directors I working here, they are resident of Abidjan. They work at the headquarters of the ADB, and so there are 20 executive directors, and Constituency 15 has one of those executive directors, and there are 81 full members of the board of governors, 81 governors from both regional and non-regional states, and so Liberia is one of the governors on that, and so that is what happened. And why is this so important for Liberia? This means that Minister Gafuan will chief constituency works along with the executive director of Constituency 15 to make sure that the 5 countries in this constituency benefit from the ADB in projects and other programs that the ADB will initiate. It also shows that Liberia is being respected amongst the Committee of Nations. It shows Liberia's influence, and it shows a recognition. Mr. George, if you come here, you see how people or governors of the ADB from the 81 countries see Liberia. You know that yes, our country is heading somewhere. So this is a big news for our country, and we saw the confidence from the federal governors of this constituency in Minister Gafuan, and they are very hopeful that he will lead this constituency for the next 2 years in the best fashion.
Okay, so after his election, do you also care to bring us up to speed? I'm sure he might have made some remarks. What did he say?
Obviously, he promised to lead with integrity. He promised to put in his expertise. As you know, Mr. Gafuan is a former country director of the ADB in Uganda, so he understands the workings of the bank, and as obviously have the constituency. So he promised to lead the constituency in the best way possible.
Okay, so before we take leave of you, who understands that Rufus Dakuri, that you made reference to earlier, in his remarks or his speech, he commended former President George Weah and also the current President Joseph Yuma Boakai. That is very rare, especially a man who was recommended by the former president. Why do you think, he went to the extent of recognizing the current president for the support?
Landscape, especially somebody who was appointed by the former president, and then when the came in, he said to me, so Mr. Rufus Dakuri, President Weah, along with him and making sure that executive director, and so that was something that everyone saw as unique and rare. So Mr. Dakuri leaves office on the 31st of July, and the new Sudan will also take over. One thing I also forgot is that the Liberian delegation met the finance minister of Zambia and the central of Zambia on the sidelines of the meeting. Minister and his team talked cooperation and mutual relationship with the people of Zambia and explore ways and means that both countries can help each other. So that was one of the meetings that were held by Minister Gafuan and his team.
Okay, so finally, before we take leave of you, we understand that on Friday he's supposed to be serving as one of the panelists at an event. Do you care also to have us informed or give us some specifics?
So on Friday of this week, Minister Gafuan on panelists on thematic knowledge event 2, which is building effective institutions in Africa for capital for development. This will be the finance minister of Ivory Coast panelists, and Minister Gafuan will be providing his knowledge on how in Africa we can build effective institutions and harness capital for development. event. You know, when you serve as panelist here, it means that you are a recognized person who has exact knowledge on the topic. So Minister, along with other finance ministers and officials from Africa and the world.
Well, Mr. Mohammed Quina, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the Nighttime Heat.
Thank you, Mr. George, and thank you for the wonderful works you continue to do. Your show is highly listened to, and I thank you for the spirit of nationalism and patriotism you bring to your show. Thank you so much.
Well, he's Mr. Quina, Mohammed Quina. He's traveling with the finance ministry delegation. We're talking about the election of the Minister of Finance as chair of Constituency 15 of the African Development Bank. And of course, he said it means a lot for Liberia. I'm sure Minister Gafwan going to use that opportunity, as always, to push for the development agenda of our country. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat right here on Prime FM 105.5. We are also being relayed by Radio Kintuman in Vanchimandufa County, Radio Gegema in Bon County, and of course in Nima County, and of course Radio Kwatika in Bon County. We also streaming live on our page, that is the Nighttime Heat page. Just make sure you tap Nighttime Heat on your Facebook page. You're going to watch this show and also share the show. Besides, you can also watch the show on our YouTube channel. Just tap Nighttime Heat, and then you also watch. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our page. Well, it's about 23 minutes after 8 o'clock. Like I said, we'll be looking at its political disagreement under threat in our country. And of course, the media will be telling us from its own perspective. And so we'll have media personnel joining the show at 8:30. I'm still awaiting my friend and brother, Moses Sandy. Moses is one of the main panelists on this show. Well, let's talk briefly about the latest development concerning Minister Gafwan being elected as chair of the Constituency 15 of the African Development Bank. You know, listeners and viewers, again, share the show. I think this is what we want in our country. We want to hear about the positive news. You know, the reason why Liberians went to the poll and elected President Joseph Boyka, it was because the UP had come up to say George Weah and his government were not helping the people to exist well. He was not providing all those basic social services. They had their own campaign messages. And so the UP was able to convince the percentage of Liberians, I think about 20,000 people, and those people, along with others, voted the UP. I don't think Liberians are prepared to hear anything negative. I don't think. I think what they're prepared to hear is like what we just heard concerning the inroads, concerning the achievements of our government and international bodies. And with what Gafwan has been elected to, and like you just heard, it's going to help him to also push for the country's development agenda. This is what we want to hear. But unfortunately, I'm sure you can take issue with me. You can take a swab at me. Unfortunately, I'm sure there are some elements who think that the government came to power for the purpose of not proceeding well, rather to settle scores. I think when you have this sort of perception, you are an enemy to the government that you serve in, and also an enemy to the Liberian people. Because, like I said, the people are not willing anymore. If you did a survey, you'll find out that majority of our people, they are at a loose end. In another word, our people don't have anything to do. How to sustain themselves, it has become a problem. They are challenged. So they expect the government to be able to go out there and source and scout for development partners that will help our country to develop and to grow. I said it here before, and I'll continue to say it. For this country to reach the level of development that Ghana has reached, it will take us some years. Because I don't think the people in Ghana or the government, I don't think they are not focused. No, they are. Because they entered a social contract with the people to improve their lives. So I don't think they hang on anything, whatever they claim is negative. I don't think they hang on it. Because all those things create distractions. Again, here we are talking about securing a seat, a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. That itself is a work to do. And that's the reason why the Minister of Foreign Affairs and others have been out there knocking the doors of those they believe can help Liberia in achieving their goals. But again, we can't be talking about the positives. We can be talking about the effort to secure a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council. And at the same time, we are trying to pick bones and with other people. We can't. It means that we are creating our own distractions. It means that we are shooting ourselves to the legs. It means we are not serious to achieving what the Liberian people have asked us to achieve. Look, my fellow compatriots, when a government is elected, it means that the people have given their trust to the government. It means the people have entered social contract. The people have entered social contract with the government for the improvement of their lives. I don't think our people have entered the contract for noise. I'll put it that way. Or for confusion. No. When the country is not stable, when every time you hear about noise, oh, this man said this, that man said that, that man said this, it creates distractions. It creates distractions. And what happens? It derails our development agenda. Because the government will then begin shifting its attention on the noise, on the bickering, on the rigmarole. At the end of the day, what happens? I think every government will encourage a model of constructive engagement with the administration. So it is not a bad thing for one to come up to say or to criticize or take a swap or speak critically of the administration. No, it is not. In fact, it helps to strengthen the administration. But again, we'll be talking about that more and more at 8:30 when our guests join us on the line. Like I said, today It's all media engagement. We'll have our media colleagues, and of course, we'll be looking at what is obtaining between Bombing County Senator Edwin Melvin Snow and the government, which we believe is just a form of distractions. What we want to hear now is what we heard this morning. And we've just conducted an interview with Mr. Mohammed Quina, and he confirmed. He talked about all the major engagements, trying to meet with international partners, trying to meet with development partners, so that our country can move from this level. I don't think we are concerned about. I don't think we are concerned about noise anymore. We have had a lot in the past. Let me try to bring Moses in quickly. Moses Sandy has already joined us. My panelist, Moses, I'm trying to express the way I believe the people in the market feel. If you went to the market now and yes, if we went to the market now, and the market people, the younger boys, the pempen riders, they are thinking about how their lives can be improved. Moses, it's not about they don't want noise anymore. We had the first noise about the removal of the former speaker. He has gone now. We think we should be concerned about how we can achieve the seat at the UN Security Council. And not noise anymore. What we're hearing there, this man is trying to create instability. This person, no, I don't think that's what our people need. Moses, let's hear from you.
Yes. Thank you, Sobot. Thank you. I've been monitoring, and I definitely agree with you. As a country, I think it is time that we allow our people to live in peace and harmony. The political bickering just too much. This administration, almost 7 months over, we had a complete impasse in the House of Representatives. Everything at the level of government came to a standstill, even though people pretended that things were happening. But any intelligent person will tell you that nothing actually happened for the last 7 months. And at the end, the rule of law prevailed. Today, we have a stable leadership in the House of Representatives. I thought by now we would have been doing something, to consolidate the peace.
Mm-hmm.
But again, now we hear about Edwin Snow. Look, working in a toxic environment is not good for your physical health. It's not good for your mental health. Our people need to be happy, and we should allow that to happen. So I definitely agree with you, my brother. Our people need peace of mind.
Our people need peace of mind. I don't think they are prepared to hear noise anymore. And like made reference to the issue of the speaker. Like I said earlier, the former speaker. I mean, that's over now. And in fact, we saw how it affected for months the whole budget process. It affected, it derailed, part of the government's, agenda or achievement. We could not achieve certain things for during that period because of the noise on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers were going to a hotel and spending lots of time there when they had major agreements to sign, and we couldn't see all of that happening because of the noise. I don't think we need any more. I mean, I thought our focus as a country, as a people, should be talking about how we can secure that seat at the UN Security Council. I thought that should be our focus now. But for us to be talking about this man said this and this man said that, especially when this particular individual who's in question was just dining and having a discussion. For us to hear this again, I thought the government should have just put that on hold until our effort, our gains at the UN Security Council can be our effort can be achieved. We can achieve whatever we want at the UN Security Council. Getting that non-permanent seat, but for us to again restart or start another noise around Edwin Snow saying this and this person saying that it doesn't help. It doesn't help, the development of the country, Moses.
Definitely, it doesn't. In my line of work, there's what we call needs and wants. The basic essentials. The basic essentials are your needs. Those things that you just cannot survive without. And peace is one of those. Our people need peace. And for us to allow little stop our cravings, our wishes are our wants. Or we need to replace Edwin Snow. Who do we send to ECOWAS? We need a UP, speaker, or we need a CDC speaker. Look, Liberians are not really worried about that. Our people want a society where they can be able to afford their daily meal. The people want to eat. They want to sleep well. They know they want the healthcare system to function effectively. Once you take care of those basic things for them, you give them easy access for movement. Our people will be happy. But when people begin to worry about the less essential, oh, that man a CDC man, so he can be speaker. Oh, the man a Unity Party. Look, my man, our people are not concerned about where you come from. Our people just need a peace of mind. And I hope our political leaders will put the interests of the country first. So we need to put our interest first. Like you said, the situation now, the most prominent news, the news of the days is the non-permanent seat which Liberia is seeking at the UN General Assembly. That's the news. We don't want no distraction. Oh, that
No.
snow. The government said they want snow. And look, but like you said, the paradox of this situation is a little over can go, a little over a week ago. The man who has been labeled as an enemy of the government was dining and whining with the president of the Republic of Liberia. This guy was dining and whining with the president of the Republic of Liberia. And only to wake up on Saturday, the man is in the news for the most terrible thing. Where are we headed as a country? Yes.
Where are we headed?
It's
And it's troubling. It's troubling, Moses. Very, very shortly, we'll begin the discussion, which has been joined by the president of the Press Union of Liberia. We're hoping to be joined by Frank Singwula. He promised that he will join us. Rufus Paul as well. Rufus is a Liberian journalist. He will join us. He's also assistant minister at the Ministry of Information. And Tato Struba. Tato is a media trainer. He also join us on the program for us to look at this from the perspective of the media. And like we said, I don't think we need noise anymore. We've had sufficient. All those 6-7 months, we had our people living with the noise, especially over the removal of the speaker. I don't think so. We have some video that will be playing. Again, share the show, please. If you are watching, share the show so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also be on top of what is coming out of the nighttime heat. Tonight, we intend to look at what is happening between the row between Bomi County Senator Melvin Snow and the Liberian government. We're trying to look at it from the media perspective. So we'll have a couple of tapes, videos. We'll play when Snow appeared at the Senate yesterday. We'll play that video, and also we saw a reaction from the Minister of Information, and I watched that video. I listened to him, and we'll be playing that video also to get a takeoff of our media colleagues who will be joining us, on this platform. So just share the show. Again, go on your Facebook page, go to where they have the search, tap nighttime heat, just 3 words, nighttime heat. As soon as you tap, you watch the show live and you will share this show. Besides, go on your YouTube channel. Go again on your Facebook page or on your Facebook, on your phone or your laptop, and tap on your YouTube. Go to where they have the search. Just tap Nighttime Heat. 3 words. As soon as you tap, again, you're going to watch the show, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Apart from that, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5 is also relaying, is also streaming live this show. So you can go to either our Facebook page on YouTube, or our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or our Facebook page, Nighttime Heat, or the Prime FM 105.5. You can also watch the show, and you share the show. We want you to share the show because, whatever happens in this country concerns all of us. Some of us, we didn't travel. We were here during the war years, when we had to look for, how they call it, Bubba John, or what is it? Some kind of leaves we have to find it to eat. And you woke up in the morning and you can't find anything to eat. The kids are all on you, holding your trouser and your skirts and your lappers and saying, well, we want to eat something. So we don't want that situation anymore. We don't want that. So anybody will be drumming or beating war drum, you be our enemy. So is it what? Every snow, is allegedly sinking? No, we don't think so. Does the government have any recordings or that we don't know about? The government needs to bring that. It's good that the Senate has launched a probe, and so the media will be looking at this from its perspective. We'll also be listening to Joel McPierre, his reaction yesterday to Edwin Melvin Snow. He said some things. We'll play the video and also discuss it as media people. Again, share the show. Go on your Facebook page and just tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you tap, you're going to watch the show live, and you're also going to share the show. Besides, you can go on your YouTube page, your YouTube channel, and you tap Nighttime Heat. As soon as you tap those 3 words, you're going to watch the show on YouTube, and also you're going to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the shape of the show tonight. I will be discussing whether the issue of political disagreement, whether it's been framed now as a national security threat. That's the discussion we'll be having tonight. So now, when you're talking, you know how to talk. I've been reading a couple of posts, online, and there are individuals who are for, there are individuals who are against. But we're going to discuss all is in the interest of our country, Mama Liberia. And that's the reason why this platform is here. This platform is not one-sided. If you listen to nighttime platforms, they're all propaganda platform, and they are all doing one-sided program. No, this program is not doing one-sided program. That's the reason why very shortly the DN News will be relaying this program. Will be on the DN News, and they're going to carry us live, and everywhere they can reach, we'll be reaching there. So very shortly, we start our discussions. I'm sure some of our colleagues are coming online. Okay, Rufus has just joined us. Let's try to welcome Rufus, my good friend and brother. Rufus, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here. Thank you. Thank you for the show.
Okay, that's good. We are still awaiting Tatus Tokpa. Tatus is media trainer. He'll be on the show as well, so as to discuss this issue very, very shortly. Tatus will be on the show, and we'll be discussing this issue. And so, let me hear from you, Moses. What do you think about tonight's discussion?
Well, Sabbath, first, let me welcome our colleague Rufus from the Ministry of Information. It is good to have you, Rufus, as we come to discuss. This is a very important discussion, and it is good that tonight, we are being able to pull together a team of Liberian journalists. We'll be discussing as professionals, as media people, as people who are considered to be the gatekeepers, the analysts, So we'll be dissecting the current situation in the country from all angles, with particular focus on journalism, credibility in the media. These are the angles that we're coming from tonight. What does it mean when someone attributes a quote, a direct quote, to someone in the absence of facts? What does that mean for journalism? So it's good that we are here tonight. I look forward to a very healthy discussion.
Okay, so let's start the ball rolling quickly. Let's start the ball rolling. I'm sure Tatos will be joining us, and Frank Segula also will be joining us very shortly. Let's hear from the president of Liberia.
So quickly, maybe you want to tell Rufus. I think he's monitoring. There's too much echo from his background. Can he control that a little bit?
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's hearing you. Rufus, just lower the
Mute
volume.
yourself.
I'm sure if you have your radio on, you can lower the volume, or just mute yourself, please.
Okay, so am I okay now? Because when I spoke first, I was hearing myself. So I was like,
Yeah, you're okay now. You're okay.
Am I okay?
You are okay. Yes, you are okay. You are okay. So let's hear from the president of the press union first, Mr. Julius Kanaba. What do you think about the discussion tonight, Julius?
Well, first, thank you very much for the opportunity. Greetings to my colleagues, the Sion veteran Moses Sandy, and my colleague Rufus Paul, the assistant minister at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Well, the discussion is what the press union stands for in terms of the promotion of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and also the conversations being hosted on a radio platform and online. It's also what the press union stands for, promoting media pluralism and also ensuring journalistic integrity in terms of the promotion of ethics within the profession, and also the analysis of different speeches, different comments, different remarks by different people. By different people within society. What we normally say, this is the debate about the debate. Okay. In this context that there is an ongoing debate to which we are now debating, that particular ongoing debate between officials of the government. I know some may say Snow is a government official, but then when you read the statements about Snow, he's like, reacting to the government of Liberia as if to say he's not in the government. I know he's an opposition politician, but yet he is within the framework of in the governing structure, especially in the first and the branch of government. Okay. I know normally in politics, in studies of politics, people normally say once you're in the executive, you have more leverage in terms of the level of responsibilities that are on your head. To either succeed, to fail, or to be in the middle. Okay. And this issue of failure is what has really prompted the government in their own reaction to what is perceived to be a statement.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. So your opening comment. Yeah.
So the discussion is important. Okay. Especially to add to the debate.
Okay. Let's hear from Mr. Rufus Paul. He's on his program. Yes. We can detach him from his ministerial position, but he's a journalist, he's been practicing the profession. So, comrade and colleague, what do you think about tonight's discussion?
Well, it's a high-level discussion, and I'm happy to be a part. I'm looking at it from two angles, the media perspective, and in fact, three angles, the media perspective, and the security implication, that's number two. And then you look at the human side of it. So I'll be looking at it from three different angles tonight. But I think it's a good topic, and it's always good to bring the media together to discuss key national issues, because we have been reporting on series of issues across the country, even before we became minister. We all work together as media people, and we know when trending issue is taking different angle, we as that have media background know how to discuss it and shape the opinion. So we are here, and I'm glad to be part of the panel. It's a strong panel. I have Julius there. Julius is a very strong discussant, and you there as a host, and the senior comrade in the media there, Sandy. And like you said, other comrades will be joining later. We are proud to be a member of this platform tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rufus Paul. He's here as a journalist, as member of our fraternity. Not that he's ministerial post now; he left that behind. So we'll have Gabriel Williams to join us. Gabriel is from he's a Liberian journalist based in the U.S. He will be joining the discussion also. So let's begin first with the Press Union of Liberia president. Mr. President, you've been, I'm sure you may have seen the two press releases. The one that came from the government, and later on
happens in government.
Okay, please, we'll be playing that later on. The one, please, we'll bring that tape later on. The want to start with the press releases first. The one that came from the government's angle, and the other release that came from Edwin Snow, the Bombing County senator, when he pushed back on the government. Although we'll be also talking about the press release too from the Citizen Movement for Change of Musa Hassan Bilidi. But looking at the two press releases, Mr. President, what's your take?
Well, first, again, I'd like to tell you thank you for the invitation. I read both press releases, first from the government of Liberia, so to speak, to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, and then the reaction or response by Senator Edwin Snow. Well, first, I've got some issue for my observation with the government, own statement, especially. I think Moses Sandy might have spoken about it in terms of the direct quote. That particular direct quote in the second paragraph of the government press release, that is the Ministry of Information, is very problematic because the quote the government is making does not reflect the fact that it is directly quoting Senator Snow. For instance, let me just take my time to read it. He said, Mr. Snow declared that he would, right afterward, all the words that are coming, they are in a direct quote, meaning Snow is speaking. Do everything possible, including using his connections. So if it is Snow that is speaking, Snow cannot use the word his. He will instead say use my connections, right? In ECOWAS to make the Boka-led government to fail. Right, even if it means discouraging foreign direct investment and making the country ungovernable and unstable until he. So where you have until he, right? It's not Snow that is speaking. It is the government that is framing what Snow has said until he, Snow. So if I'm speaking, right, because the government, the Ministry of Information is doing a direct quote. That direct quote should be the voice.
We are in the job mode and the classroom right now.
Directly from the person who is speaking. And so this is very problematic, right? And then if you read a response by Edwin Snow also, Snow said one thing. I'm just going to go towards the statement because I seem to have downloaded some of the exchanges between Snow. Snow mentioned the fact that this particular government's statement has some implicit link to tracing. Well, I'm not too sure. That is his own framing. But again, he uses the words implicit. So perhaps he's being very cautious not to link it to tracing, because tracing is against the state, right? Meaning the state can hold you responsible. But also, I like the fact that he stated directly what the Ministry of Information said, that he was attempting, or his statements were irresponsible and inflammatory, in the sense that his statements have got the propensity to destabilize the country. well, that is somehow traceable. And I say this in the sense that Snow has been under sanction before. And I'm saying Snow with due respect, meaning I'm not referring to him as senator, right? But it implies he has been under sanction before for being in relationship with former President Charles Taylor to undermine the peace of the country. So when the government, as the Ministry of Information has done, issues a particular statement and linking him to the destabilization of the country, it sounds very big to the country. And one of the problems that I've had, with the statement by the Ministry of Information is that no evidence or fact has been abused to the public to say these are the direct words of Snow as used in the press release by the Ministry of Information. And it is problematic that you will quote me and you have me in court, yet you cannot provide the audio that will be able to justify or prove that they say this particular was or this was in quote. And so, it is problematic, for instance, for the government to say that, link Snow's statement, quote unquote, to the issue of a plot of destabilization. I'm not too sure. It's too strong, right? So also the timing of the statements.
We'll talk about the timing. We'll talk about the timing later on.
The timing is also relevant. When did Snow make this particular statement?
Okay.
I'm aware Snow appeared on Spoon Network in the past, even before the Unification Day. I'm also aware Snow met, like you said, as part of your introductory in those statements, Snow met the president, I think, after Unification Day.
Yes,
he posted a picture. And I'm not sure where this statement, this direct quote that is in the or misquote of Snow, where is it coming from? Is it coming from the interview he had with Spoon prior to meeting the president? Or is it that Snow met the president and he made his position very clear that he's yet to destabilize the government of the president, Joseph Yuma Boka?
Okay.
So the statement is problematic. Snow has positioned himself in terms of the reaction. He has to cut short, for example, his trip in Sweden.
Surely.
He was in the Kingdom of Sweden on a fight or conflict prevention and conflict resolution training program. So imagine you are going, you've been or you are at a training program to prevent conflict, to resolve conflict, and then your government that you are a part of as an opposition legislator is accusing you of being irresponsible, of making destabilization threats to the nation and its people. It contradicts your position and it exposes you to international backlash. So it was important that he came down immediately to respond. And I think he has elevated the conversation, and perhaps from my own reading now, the government could be on the back foot.
Okay.
In terms of how Snow has managed the situation. He has now only raised the issue in the Senate. He has gone to the level of different embassies, including the ECOWAS, where he is representing Liberia at the level of the ECOWAS Parliament.
Okay.
In fact, Sobol, just before you go, the government mentioned the fact that Snow is a member of the ECOWAS Parliament. I'm not too sure why is it, this mention of ECOWAS Parliament is coming in the government statement, because the government says Snow has got some leverage within the ECOWAS in the region, and they are linking him that he will use all of these levers of power to make the country ungovernable. And I have been in Liberia in the last 3 months, for example, right? Since January, February, March, April, 4 months, the 5th month is May. I've not heard from Snow, and I've not heard from any politician, I stand to be corrected, who has said that they will make Liberia ungovernable.
Okay,
they will
let's
make
go with
Liberia
Mr. President.
unstable.
Because
Wait. The only person that I heard this word from ungovernable was the former representative, I think Akaros Green, during the heat of the 2011 elections, when he said President Sirleaf should govern her people and will govern our people, and if the attempt to do anything will make the country ungovernable. So Snow, as I've known him for many years, right? I mean, he has been working to rehabilitate himself in terms of character, because he was connected, so to speak, with the Chancellor fraction of, in terms of the political affiliation, which of course he is. He remains a member of the NPP. I'm told he has been working to take over the party, which of course is his right. And in fact, Snow has got a team that is working to push his ambition, which of course the government, through the Ministry of Information, mentioned, right? And Snow wants to be president, and it is his constitutional right.
Okay, let's leave you there. We'll come back to you, Mr. President. Let's hear from my friend and brother Rufus. Rufus, you listen to the president of the press union. The first thing, he began to dissect your press release, indicating that you made some quotations, but there's no audio or video to verify or prove what the quotations you've made. Want to hear from you.
Well, in the first place, the press release issued by the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism is the official standpoint of the government. And I will not dive into that because the senator himself have issued a statement calling for an investigation. He asked his colleague at the level of the Senate to investigate. So I'm not going to dive into that. So I don't want to be seen as prejudicing the investigation that he's calling for. So I will not look into what the press release say. Why I want the public to understand that while it's true, it's good to oppose, but while opposing a government is a healthy venture for our democracy, right? It's very healthy for our democracy.
Let me hold you there, Mr. Rufus. Paul, let me hold you there. Yes, it's your right not to delve into the issue of the press statement, but we are discussing as media people on this show. Are you confirming that you do have recordings of the quotes that you indicated in the press release?
Well, we can't speak to that, like I said, but it's the official position of the government. And this is a responsible government. We won't issue press release that we don't have facts to. So it's the official position of the government.
Was the government instructed? I'm coming. Was the government instructed? Was the government detected to? Was that statement done and given to the Ministry of Information to say, look, since you are the spokesperson, go and get this out? Were you instructed and were you detected to
the Information Ministry? The Information Ministry is the arm responsible to issue press releases for government, and they did that. So that's the position of the government. And I will not borrow any word. That's the exact position of the government. I want us to understand. But the context that I want to bring, and I want the Liberian people to understand, is that even apart from what Snow said on Spoon, he has been making series of statements at the level of ECOWAS. Series of statements. He's not the only Liberian that is representing us at the level of ECOWAS. We have heard countless statements against the survivability of this government.
And you have recordings to that. Level, you have documentary evidence.
At the level at which the senator is seated, I think he shouldn't be in the position to call for a failure of a government because it has security implications. In the first place,
no,
we are not.
I know, yes. Mr. Paul. I know you want to go further.
Yeah.
But you said Snow has been making a series of statements at ECOWAS where he's representing Liberia. Do you have documentary evidence? Do you have recordings to that of some of the statements that Snow has been making?
I said and I maintain that Senator Snow has been making statements against this government. He has said it even on the floor of ECOWAS. And this man has gone to represent Liberia at the level of ECOWAS.
So
If for any reason he is to place anything on the floor, should be something that will promote the image of the government. But he's practically not been promoting the image of the government, even at the level of ECOWAS, since our government took seat.
So it was at
So
ECOWAS
when he was
I come in, Mr. Paul. It was at ECOWAS that he made this statement of a plan to overthrow or create instability in the country. It was at ECOWAS, or where did he make the statement?
I said, apart from what the release carry, he's been making series of other statements, even at the level of ECOWAS. Apart from
So
what
the
the release
question is,
carry, he's been making
so
series of
I'm
other
just
statements,
asking-
even at the
I'm
level.
just asking,
But
was
so
it-
he
was
said,
it
I
at
not
ECOWAS?
deny.
No, I come in. Was it at ECOWAS that he made a statement of creating instability or overthrowing the government? Was it at ECOWAS, or where did he make the statement that you have in court?
So, but take your microphone around. This is where now journalistic investigation has to start.
Oh, when am I
Because if
turning
the
my
government
microphone?
issue a statement, if the government issue a statement, it's the government position in the statement. So government will not issue a statement and look at one of its citizens and plug them up and link them to add to such an act. So you as a media person, you want to investigate further, you investigate further, but that's the official position of the government. And Snow himself has not practically he have not denied anything. He's calling for investigation. So why is he calling for investigation?
We'll play the tape.
Why is he calling for investigation?
Okay, we'll play the tape. Let me hear from Moses.
Like I
and then
said,
Just before you hear from Moses, right? I mean, my colleague Rufus will have to.
Yeah, thank you. Look,
Thank you. Yeah, Moses, I'm coming. Moses,
someone,
I'm coming.
let me
Moses,
go
1 minute.
ahead, Mr. President.
Moses,
just allow
just
me
1
to
minute.
continue.
1 minute, Moses. The president was his speech here.
Snow has categorically denied this particular statement, right? He has said it is malicious. So when Rufus says that Snow has not denied, I'm not too sure which country Rufus is in.
But
because Snow is
how will
calling for an
he deny
investigation.
calling for investigation?
No, because you are accusing him and he
The
has
man
denied the
statement
statement.
they calling for.
So besides
investigation.
denial
Lord,
now, he
Lord,
wants-
someone, let
he
me
wants
come
due
in,
process to
please.
be done.
Let me come in.
Okay. Yeah, Moses, come in, Moses. We want to play the
Okay,
tape when
look,
Snow wants to send it. Yeah.
I've listened to Assistant Minister Paul from the Ministry of Information. I listened to the President of the PL. And I want to speak tonight as a journalist, a former editor, and an educated person. The minister came in, the assistant minister came in grandstanding. He said, oh, well, the statement from the Ministry of Information is the government's position. I do not want to delve into that because the matter is currently being probed. After saying that, in less than 2 seconds, the very assistant minister contradicted himself when he started making allegations against Senator Snow. He said, oh, this man went to ECOWAS, he said this. He's been going around and saying that. But Mr. Minister, how do you come? You say you do not want to delve into what you got in the public domain, but at the same time, you're making allegation against this man. So now it's like you're opening up your own press release for discussion. So if I were at the Ministry of Information, this is what I would have done. The government can come and take a position to say, hey, Senator Snow, we have concern about your activities or whatever, and we are disappointed that you represent us at ECOWAS and you're making these statements. What I will not do as an editor, I will not fabricate quotes. I will not fabricate quotes. When you create quotes, direct quotes, we're not talking about indirect. When you say, the person said, I will do this, I will do that, then you need to cite a source for that information. And the ministry failed to do that. And we have the assistant minister who says that, oh, well, it's the position of the government. No, Mr. Minister, if it is the position of the government, you are under obligation to tell us as an educated citizenry, where you got this information from that you attributing to this man. You have not been able to demonstrate that.
Now when
All you're doing is grandstanding,
Sandy,
or I don't want to delve into that. And quickly, Mr. Minister, just give me a break. Mr. Minister, just a moment, please.
It's not when
Mr. Minister, allow me complete. Mr. Minister, please.
Yes, complete.
Please, Mr. Minister, allow me complete. So what I'm saying to you, Mr. Minister, it is stated in the legal word that he who accuses has the burden of proof. You need to tell the people of Liberia the direct quotes you have in that press release. You need to tell the people of Liberia where this guy spoke at, who he spoke to. You have not been able to do that. The ministry has not been able to do that. What the ministry has done is what grandstanding. Oh, that's our position. That's our position. That's our position. That's not enough, Mr. Minister. The Liberian government has the right to speak. You can speak on the issue. You can speak if you have concern, but you cannot attribute costs to this man and at the same time refusing to tell us where the quotations came from. That's my position, Saba.
Okay. Now, Mr. Minister,
let me come in. Let me come in. In the first place, the senator himself said he wants an investigation into the matter. But a panelist come here to sit and say we should produce evidence against ourselves. It's not time to produce. When the time comes, you'll know who gave the code. But it's too premature now to come and state who gave the code, because we'll be prejudicing even the investigation that the senator is calling for. So we are not going to delve into who attributing the code to or what have you. Where the government stand now is the government position until pending the outcome of the investigation that he's calling for. He said he wants security. The government is showing us security. He said he wants investigation. He's being assured that it must be investigated. So don't rush. Responsible government waiting before maybe I'll come on the same platform and tell you where I'm coming from. I will use the same platform.
Why is it on the network? Rufus Snow has come up to deny. He has pushed back on the government. Why is it taking the government long to provide the evidence of the courts?
Because he went further to call for an investigation. And you don't prejudice investigation. You wait until you are called. You don't prejudice investigation. So let others wait for the outcome of the investigation. So but don't rush. The breaking news will come here. Don't rush. Let's wait for the investigation. I will sit on the same platform.
Okay.
I will sit on the same platform. I will sit on the same platform to explain to the public where the costs are coming from. So there's no need to rush. Don't jump the gun.
Okay, so the Ministry of Information has a code. So let's hear from Julius quickly. Julius.
No, I like my friends and brother Rufus Paul. Don't jump the gun. This is not a formal judicial process in which a case that is before a court or competent jurisdiction will be considered as sub judice, to use that particular legal in the word, right? This is the Ministry of Information. The Senate has got a right, for instance, to summon the Minister of Information or the team at the ministry to come before it. Yes, the Senate has also instituted an investigation that Rufus rightly said, but it does not negate the fact that the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism is an obligation to informing the public with the facts that it has got, because the Senate hearings or investigation are all hearings that will be political in nature. It's not before a court or competent jurisdiction, right? And Snow is a member of the Senate. Who knows if the Senate comes up with its findings? The Ministry of Information could say, no, I disagree in terms of the investigation not going the way of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So the ministry who insists that, I have the facts, and perhaps they may not even be able to produce it. But what I do know, this particular court is not a court that should be directed from Snow.
You sure of that?
Yeah. I mean, from what is here, because Snow can be saying until he Snow, right? I'm speaking until he Julius Canova. I mean, it's not possible. Me, I'm referring to another person. So the direct quote,
Look, Julius, yeah,
perhaps
Mr. President, quickly, Osobo.
Yes, let's hear from you.
Let me just say something quickly, Julius. Look, my brother, don't waste your time on the issue of grammar. Let that be our least worry.
But if
What we want to know what the government feed to is what we want to know what the government feed to is the direct quote. If you go and write an article, and we are speaking here tonight as journalists, if I write an article and say Mr. Sobos says he is the host, if I write that Mr. Sobos declare I am the host of the nighttime show or the nighttime heat, I am the host. If I write that, it means that I am quoting Mr. Sobos directly. And when someone asks me where did he say that, I would say, well, he said this when I spoke to him yesterday at his office. He said this when he granted an interview to social group. And this is what we're asking the government to do. You said this guy is saying
if you are saying we should not focus on the
utilize his contacts in ECOWAS to engage in subversive activities. Yes.
Yes, if you are saying we should not focus on the grammatical construction of the quote, then, I mean, how do you know that a quote is a fabrication, right?
Besides, come on, man. Listen.
No, listen. Okay, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you, but we have to inform the public as to how this thing, the core quotes,
gentlemen,
should reflect or manifest itself, right? Because you can be quoting somebody directly, and that person is referencing himself, right? Me,
yeah,
me is not there. He, right? So we have to be very analytical about this particular quote, because this is the quote that is very problematic. To say I will make the country ungovernable and unstable, right? So this is a very problematic area of the quote, right? I agree with Sandy in terms of producing the facts, the evidence, so to speak, that can be able to prove that indeed Senator Snow did make the statement. I also agree with my colleague Rufus Paul, right? If the government has got, as he claims, right, series of different statements made by Senator Snow at the ECOWAS Parliament or whatsoever, the government will have to produce it. I mean, since the statement was issued, we've not been able to see any piece of evidence produced by the government.
Before I play the tape, before we download or upload the video of Senator Snow when he went to the Senate, looking at how the press release was written, Moses, you've been in the profession for quite a long time, Rufus Paul and Julius as well. What's your description of the quote? I mean, of the story. It's in the press release. Is it poorly written? Let's assume if a reporter brought that sort of story to you in the newsroom, Moses, how you would have treated that story or that script?
Look, and let me just piggyback on what the president said. A direct quote is written from a first person angle. I will do this. I am doing this. This is what I have started. You cannot say he said he will do this. Then that's indirect quote.
That's it.
A direct quote is you are going word for word. What the person says he is doing or what he intends to do. When you look at the press release, that's what I said. We shouldn't waste our time on the grammatical angle because there are serious grammatical problem in there. You cannot say he said he will do this. Then you're confusing us and you have everything in direct quote. The man should be saying, I will do this. I will utilize my contract to do this, to do that. But you cannot say he said he will do that.
If you were
the Ministry of Information, the press release, the news, I mean, I don't want to be condescending, but grammatically speaking, the ministry did not do well. Professionally speaking as well, the ministry did not do well because you attribute a quote to somebody, and when somebody say, where did you get this information from? Then you have a representative of the ministry and say, oh, well, we don't want to talk about it because the matter is being probed. It's being probed. No, that has to do with the integrity of the government. It has to do with the integrity of the Minister of Information. It has to do with the integrity of everyone at the Ministry of Information. If you're quoting somebody directly, you are under obligation to tell the people where the source of this information, and you haven't done that. You see?
So so when Snow spoke on Spoon, the Spoon Network, nobody on the platform heard it, right? Nobody on the platform heard it. When Snow said that when Snow was praying for the government to fail, nobody heard it. And nobody knew the implication for a senator to take to an international platform and make such a statement. Do you know the security implication towards that?
Mr. Minister,
You know the security implication. You are not looking at that. You are looking
no,
at the
Mr. Minister, you're going off tangent. Mr. Minister, you're going
No,
off tangent.
we cannot use.
We want
I
you to
don't think-
clearly
hello,
defend the
hello,
position of
no,
the
let
Mr.
me
Minister.
learn.
You're going off
Let me-
tangent.
No, Mr. Minister,
Let
we
me
are
learn
talking about
because
the grammatical
cannot use-
structure.
We cannot use
We are looking at the grammatical structure of your press release.
On the press release,
Mr. Minister, not
you
deal
are
with the
a journalist.
grammatical structure of your
You've
press
been
release.
Somebody,
Yes, go
if you
ahead.
have brought me here to discuss, the grammatical nature of both
No, we're
Snow
discussing the
statement
entire
and the
thing.
minister and the government statement, I wouldn't have come. I thought we have
But
come
Mr.
to
Minister-
discuss the implication of Snow statement. The
We'll
implication
discuss
of Snow statement.
Listen now, Mr.
And
Minister,
the
we'll
role-
discuss the
And the role at which government
We
is
are also-
playing. That's what we should be discussing.
Mr. Minister,
Because we
we'll
all
discuss
heard
the
what Snow said
implication.
on Spoon. The tape is
Mr.
all around
Minister.
the place.
Mr.
When he
Minister, we'll
used
discuss the-
international platform to say he praying for a government that he himself is a part of to fail. We all heard it. Why are we not saying that? Then we
No,
dwell
what are
and
you-
we're using
let-
almost
let- let-
30 minutes.
let-
We're using
let's
almost 30
transition.
minutes to
Mr.
be
Minister,
looking at
Mr.
press
Minister,
release.
Mr. Minister, let's
We are talking
transition.
about national security issue. Then we're using almost 30 minutes to talk about press release.
Mr. Minister,
We have to
Mr.
be
Minister,
serious on the platform tonight.
let's transition.
What press release
Okay,
has
let's
to-
forget-
is the
let's forget about the
implication-
grammatical
is the-
structure.
We
I
use
can't,
almost
Mr.
30
Minister.
minutes to be discussing
Mr.
press release.
Minister,
Are we
Mr.
serious
Minister,
here
let's forget
tonight?
the grammatical structure. Now let's go into the statement you just said that you quoted Snow that he said you ensure that the government fails. What is, tell us what is wrong with that? What was wrong with that statement from an opposition perspective? Tell us what is wrong. What is wrong with that statement?
But hello, someone, let me
Our
just
government-
provide this
Excuse me,
clarification.
Hello?
Moses,
Yes, someone,
I'm asking the minister.
clarification.
Yes.
Someone, quickly, Mr. Minister, quick clarification, please. Just a second. I listened to, on April the 9th, I listened to Senator Snow. He did not say that he will mobilize support for the failure of the government. I heard him say he wants the government to fail because the government doesn't respect the rule of law. And he
Okay.
gave specific references.
Clarification has been made.
please.
Moses, you
The
got
guy
clarification.
provided references.
There is
Mr.
That's what
the
he
tape is
said.
available. Excuse me,
Moses.
hello. The tape
I
is
listened to the
available. Why
man.
it is true?
Everyone else here
Why
will
it is
listen to
true?
this guy on Spoon.
Moses, if
Moses,
you are the
let's hear from
spokesperson
Rufus.
for Snow tonight, then come clear. If you want to be spokesperson for Snow, come clear. Then we now know that we have one spokesperson, we have the PE president, then we have government
Rufus.
person here. Then we
Assistant
know
Minister,
that the platform is balanced. So if you
no,
come
Mr.
clear,
Minister, Mr. Minister,
you
I
can't
am
no,
speaking,
no.
I am speaking to
If you came here as a spokesman for Snow, then you can't clear. I come here
No,
as a government person, but also
Yeah,
a media
Mr. Minister,
person. Now,
Mr.
Julius
Minister,
Kanumba is down there as a media person and the president of the president of Liberia. If you are the official spokesman of Snow, you come clear. Let know your
You
position.
are hanging on it.
M-
You are hanging
Mr.
on
Let
it.
know your
Minister,
position.
yeah,
Listen,
Mr. Minister,
Moses,
someone,
Let know your
Moses,
position.
yeah, someone, let me just say this quickly.
As such.
Moses, 1 minute. Moses, 1 minute.
Yeah.
We have to transition. I asked a question to Rufus. Rufus, you are hanking on what you said. Snow said that he will ensure that the government fails. He wants the government to fail.
Moses
What
is
is wrong with that
hijacking.
statement?
The question
What is
the
wrong
host
with
is
that
asking, you are
statement?
hijacking the
From an
question.
opposition figure. What is
So
wrong with that
defense
statement?
no.
Moses, Rufus, I'm asking what is wrong with that statement from the perspective of an opposition figure.
In the first place, Edwin Snow is not just an ordinary opposition. And we run a very responsible government. We respect the rule of law and we respect freedom of speech. That's the reason you see everybody, including the press, everybody free to talk. They got some people open radio stations, they open them up wide and just talk anything they want to talk about government. We don't go after them. Why would we want to go after a senator? But senator, opposition senator, who goes on international platform and say he praying and he wishing for the government to fail so that he himself can use the opportunity to come to power. It has security implication.
What is
because
the security
senator we are
implication?
speaking about, the security implication could be unrest, civil unrest.
No, that could be. I come in, Mr. Minister. I want you to be very frank. Come clear.
Yeah.
What is the security implication?
There are many implications. There are many security implications. It could be civil unrest. For the fact that Snow has a lot of followers. He has a lot of followers. Somebody could listen to Snow on the radio and say, you see what Snow saying? The people were praying for the people to fail. People could have civil unrest. Even before you leave that radio station. Even before you leave that radio station.
No, it's an
and
opposition.
Then also represent Liberia. Let me learn.
Mr. Minister, no, I can't.
It's not ordinary opposition. It's a government official and representing Liberia at the high level, at the level of ECOWAS.
Snow is an opposition. Do you expect him to praise your administration? Do you expect him to sing for your administration? Is that what you expect?
No, we are not expecting him to sing for our administration. We are expecting him to be constructive opposition, and not to issue statements that can plunge this country into war. We know Snow. We know where Snow came from. So we don't want Snow to use the airwave to plunge this country into war. If our country, in fact, the government will run so lenient. If the other country, but now Snow will be invited to explain the context of the statement. Snow will be invited by state security to explain the context. You won't go to Senate and be filibustering and be all over the place. If it was the Georgia government, in fact, but now Snow will be explaining to state security.
Thank you, Mr. Minister.
All the nature and context for which you were speaking.
The video, Mr. Minister, thank you. Let's try to upload the video when Snow went to
upload the video and what Snow said.
The Senate, and let's listen to him. Let's try to upload that video.
You batting for Snow who have lived a whole life in war zone.
Mr. Minister, please, 1 minute. Let's try to upload the video when Snow went to the Senate. Okay. Let's listen.
No, before we go to the Senate, let's play what he said on Spoon. The Spoon network recording is what you should start with.
No, but we played that recording already. Let's play this one. And you already listened to that recording. No, you heard it. We'll play that. Okay, we'll play that for you, but let's play this one.
At the time, the man crying, "What
in this country? What people will lie on people and they will go to jail and are killed. Under this political dispensation, we should not allow that to happen, Mr. So, Mr. I want to publicly thank you and the pro-tem. When there was misinformation about utterances I made, which I will repeat, that I want this government to be a one-term government, and I stand by that statement.
The man still repeating it.
Are you leadership?
But where are the men there, Rufus?
We arranged a meeting with me, President, headed by you, and the pro-tem to meet with the president. The president was extremely cordial and magnanimous. And as far as I'm concerned, you are witness, we laid down the issues. I told him what I said, where I stood as an opposition, and he respected that. Pleasantries, pictures, and left, we did a post. One was all of the country, you even call me, sorry, this is personal, but I will say it. You will call me and say, where are you? I said, all the country. You say the president that gave me the hard copy of the picture we gave to you. I said, oh, Mr. President, all the country, when I will come for the picture. So I believe the meeting was in good faith. Saturday, I'm flying and I see a statement from the Minister of Information accusing me of treason, of trying to destabilize the government of Liberia, of using my connection in ECOWAS to undermine the government of Liberia. And Mr. President, since that statement, if you look at my phone, the threatening messages my family and I continue to receive. My life has been threatened, Mr. Vice President. This is not politics.
Okay,
This is
let's try to end it. My life is being threatened, Mr. Vice President. Let's leave it there. Let's hear from you, Mr. President Julius Kanaba. You listen to Snow.
Well, I think Snow has been able to film what he has filmed as the right approach to responding to the statements by the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, which of course is right. I find it as troubling for the way how his previous interviews, on the Spoon Network and some of his interactions with the president, the way how the government responded. I am beginning to see a pattern which could be problematic for opposition politicians. When President Boka was in Rome, he invited Speaker Kofa.
Okay.
Speaker Kofa at the time was in the United States, attending the Association of Liberian Journalists at an annual convention or conference. And he went to Rome. While with the president, something happened. Behind
coup d'etat.
Yes. No, I don't want to use the word coup d'etat. I said something happened.
I thought that the word you're looking for.
No, I hope you quote me directly.
I'll quote you well, don't worry.
And then Snow met the president.
Okay.
After the unification day. Again, according to this,
I'm sure they're down on one. Huh?
No, to the interview, to that particular comments he made in the Senate, at the crush of the conversation might have been the interview with Spoon, which of course he said he re-emphasized his position to the president as an opposition and provided the context. And the president tolerated what he said with that sort of a courtesy. And then after he left the president, and then while away, again, he's in another country, the Kofa was, something is happening behind him. I see a little bit troubling in terms of meeting the president and then something is happening.
You think it's a pattern being created?
Yes, a pattern is being created. And besides that, I don't agree with Rufus's analysis that the statement by Snow has got national security implication. Snow is an opposition politician. When Rufus and others were in opposition, they made the very same statement that the CDC government was failing. And that since the CDC government has failed, the Unity Party should be elected. Snow, per the interview that I listened to on Spoon, like Moses did, and like all of you have done, he said many things before he even came to the issue of praying for the government to fail. The issue of removing people on tenured position, the issue of appointing people as acting in tenure position. He mentioned different failures of the government and said, as an opposition, I think this is what is required for me to be president. And well, if you say Snow is not patriotic, I'm not too sure somebody who is not patriotic, who want to represent different constituencies, who also want to be presidents of the republic, because most likely in most instances, patriots are the one that go to the polls. And we live in a democratic dispensation, right? There will be wars that will come from politicians. Those wars cannot be considered as national security implication. I disagree with the Assistant Minister. And besides that, the security forces within our country, whether it is the Executive Protection Service, whether it is the Liberia National Police, the Liberia Immigration Service, or the National Security Agency, or any other security agency, they've got the sophistications to determining as to how a statement in the public by an opposition politician should be treated. So if the security agencies have not invited, Senator Snow, and Rufus is saying if it were in other countries, but now Snow should have been facing investigation or being called upon by the security forces. Rufus, that is way back. You're taking Liberia back war, right? Liberia is not just this sort of a kangaroo or banana republic again. In the democratic context, some of those words, as Snow said, they are expected. And you can criticize him, but to misquote him or to fabricate a quotation and put it on him without the evidence as we speak, then it becomes problematic, right, for the country. It means that the information ministry cleverly did that. I mean, I trust the folks at the information ministry in terms of their level of sophistication. I spoke to somebody and said, but you know, some of the guys over there, they are propagandists, right? And they know how to craft a statement to gain the public traction that it has gained, so to speak. And perhaps, like somebody said, I mean, and a public relations in the specialist, he said this could be a diversionary tactic to sway the public towards discussing certain issue. This thing, it will be discussed for 2 weeks afterwards, another issue. And so Rufus, I mean, the statement that the ministry issued, I mean, it has backfired, so to speak.
Okay, let's hear from Rufus. Rufus, you listen to your colleague, but proud to that you listen to Senator Snow. He said his life has been threatened. Rufus, are you there? Rufus? Okay, it seems Rufus is not coming in. Let's hear from.
Let me come in, Sober. Let me come in while Rufus is getting ready to come in. Like the PO president said, Mr. Kanumba, look, the Ministry of Information has thrown its professional integrity into question.
Am I on?
Record,
yes, you are on.
Sober, are you hearing me?
But just 1 minute. One minute. Let's Moses land.
Yeah, let me complete my thoughts. When the ministry, attributes quotes that a claim emanated from this man, yet Mr. Famule came here ground standing. Oh, I don't want to talk about that because this is the position of the government. This matter is being investigated. When you talk to other higher ups at the Ministry of Information, it's the same ground standing. Yesterday, I listened to Deputy Minister Sando. It was the same ground standing. Oh, we are taking a position. We are taking a position. You guys fight for us. You fight for us. You are under legal, moral, a professional obligation to tell us where your course emanated from. You came here, you're going off tangent. Oh, this man statement has security implications. That is not an issue. You created a court, and we are asking you to provide the source of your court. And you can't do that. And only you're telling, it's being investigated. Mr. Minister, I'm sorry to say, but this is actually troubling.
Okay.
And let me help you understand.
Let's hold you there.
And someone, let me say this quickly. Okay. The minister was wondering if I came as an advocate for Senator Snow. Mr. Minister, with all due respect to you, I speak my mind as a Liberian. I speak my mind as a journalist. Maybe when I was practicing, that was many years ago. I'm a former editor. I would not have written such a press release under no condition. You attribute a source, you attribute court to somebody, and you can't defend it.
Okay, let's hold you there. Let's hold you there. Let's hold you there. Rufus, you can come in.
It's quite disappointing that Sandy tonight is just going in circles. I think this panel here is giving this man a hard time, and the issue here, I don't think he he can discuss the issue tonight because he's just all over the place. But let me just respond to Julius Kanumba, the president of Liberia. When we were in opposition, we were not issuing such statements like threatening or praying for the government to not succeed so we'll come into power. No. What the Unity Party was doing while in opposition, we were challenging the government on policy issues. We were challenging the government, bringing to their feet on fire on policy issues. Even at the level of President, we stood on our ground. We went in the throat of the government. When they were not listening, first time in the life and history of Liberia, the entire Liberian media took to the street. We protest against this government as active journalists. At that time, Julius, I don't think you were in the country. Charles Coffey was president, or Sober Jones was in country. So down to the president was taking the government feet to the fire. We were engaging the government on what policy issues. So we were not there making statements that would destabilize or we want the government to fail to come to power. Anytime you issuing the kind of statement, especially so when you are a senior government official and making top representation at the level of ECOWAS, sometimes it undermines investment confidence. It undermines investment confidence. He says a part of the government. If Crabtree leave from under the water and say, the crab is not breathing, you believe it. Snow is a part and parcel of our government. Our constitution says we have three branches of government, separate but coordinated functions. So is he saying that he's not part of the government? So if a senior government official, regardless of the party he belongs to, go to international platform and say that he's praying for the government to not succeed, you don't know that it got security implication. You don't know that it got diplomatic implication. You don't know that it sway away national investors. You don't know that it undermines investment confidence.
So let me ask you now,
that.
Rufus, let me ask. You just said it again. You repeated that it has security implication. How soon will the government pick up Edwin Snow? Because the allegations you brought against him is grave. I mean, linking him to trying to destabilize the state, treasonable. How soon are you going to pick him up?
It's not for me to say. At the Ministry of Information, at the Ministry of Information, it's not our work to pick Edwin Snow up. It's not our work to go and pick us Snow.
How soon will the government pick
We have issued a statement.
The government.
Please, we have already. Hello, Sober. We have issued a statement. The government position, and we wanted the Liberian people to know and the international community to know what Snow is engaged with, and the message has gone across, and the world already know what Snow is engaged with. And
yes,
from time to time,
Mr. Minister, the question I'm asking you: how soon do we expect your government to pick up Snow through your security apparatus? Because Snow is someone who has been accused of trying to destabilize the country. We know what war means. I don't think any of us are again prepared to eat Bobo John or someone leaves or whatever it is. So how soon are you going to pick him up?
Like I told you, we have issued a statement, and that statement was meant to inform the Liberian people of what Snow is involved with. It's left with the security people to do the work, and they don't tell you how they are doing the work. They don't tell you how they're doing their work. So it's not in our place at the Ministry of Information to come and tell you that when the security is supposed to pick up Snow or whether they got plan of picking up Snow. It's not in our place to come and tell you that. What we can assure you that the first statement you see is the position of the government, and we stand by that statement. Like Snow said in just the recording, that he repeated what he said on Spoon, that he prayed for the government to fail. The government is not going to fail. The government is not going to fail. That's the reason when he wake up in the morning, he see LEC. When he go to bed, he see LEC. When he's driving, he see roads are being built. When he's moving, he see water all over the place. We are basically providing social services. This government is not
Okay.
going to fail. So he,
Okay, Mr.
the
Minister,
prayer
thank
that
you.
he's offering.
We have this video to play. Yes, Moses, quickly.
Someone, please, let me just say something. The assistant minister, unfortunately, came here today with one disposition. The disposition is continue to stand in defense of what emanated from the Ministry of Information. Whether the ministry is in the wrong, whether the government is in the wrong, you just go and tell the people, this is our position, this is our position. This man has spoken here for almost an hour. All he tells you, this is our position. This is our position.
No,
And so
I
it's
told
like,
you.
yeah,
No, I
basically
told you.
nothing to
I told you
offer.
implications.
Yeah,
I just
listen,
told
my
you
man,
implications.
listen, Mr. Minister, let me complete
I
my
just told you
thoughts.
implications.
Mr.
Why you want to be combative?
Mr. Minister,
Why you want to be combative?
Gentlemen, I will have to go to the line. But
Yeah, Mr. Minister, allow me, let me
Why you
complete
want to
my
be
thoughts.
combative?
Mr. Minister, let me complete.
Gentlemen, 1 minute. Moses, 1 minute. Let's play this tape. The video of the Minister of Information. Let's listen.
Okay.
Let's listen to it.
Oh, okay.
I have a responsibility to articulate whatever the government asks me to articulate. You know the way the question went suggests that an information minister can just get write anything and say anything. And sadly, from some of the reactions that I've listened to, I'm in a kind of state of disappointment because some of our very serious officials who've been in hard places for years still got some serious understanding as to how government works, and that's a disappointment to me. But let me just state for the record that as the Minister of Information, I speak to issues when I'm instructed to. What the timing, it is not for me to determine. When the government says speak to this issue at this time and this is what we want you to say, I say it. If you have an issue with that, have the issue with the government. So the fact that some will even personalize it, and then I heard some very crazy talks, but knowing who I am, Patrick, I don't listen to rubbish. I'm well grounded to just allow things to pass by, and I don't go back and forth with people. I mean, look at it this way: somebody say a lot of things all over the place. We just say one thing, see where they are. Is there a need for me to actually say another thing, even if I was instructed to? I don't think so. We said what we wanted to say as instructed by the government. We're clear, and I mean very clear. If someone has a problem with that, they should have the problem with the government of Liberia, not the Minister of Information, because the Minister of Information did not manufacture what was each issue. He was instructed to, he was dictated to, because that is the position of the government, not the Ministry of Information. Not quite sufficient. A lot of people have called me on different shows. The only person said this can't respond to it.
Okay, let's try to hold it there because we'll be going to the lines. Again, you listen to Julius, you listen to the Minister of Information. Moses, you listen, and Paul Rufus, you listen to your boss. The government was, the ministry was instructed. Told the ministry was detected. Told this placed me in it takes me back into the classroom when we were students of public relations, mass communication. We did public relations on a Joe Walba Moluba and Kroma Haji Kroma as a public relation figure, which I think you all can attest. You are playing a management function. To be detected to be instructed to. What comes to your mind? Let me ask you, Julius Kanaba. Let me begin with you.
Why did not go to Rufus or to his friend Moses? I listened to the minister, right? He said he has a responsibility to articulate what the government tells him. And that, I mean, as part of his comments, he said he was instructed. And then he also said he's been listening to some very crazy talks. I mean, in reaction to what he was instructed to say. Well, I mean, those are all problematic terms that he's using. I mean, he has an agency. By agency, he has got the skill sets, the capability, the thinking faculty to decide, right? If you are the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, you are the head of the government communication.
Surely.
You are a senior advisor to the president, to the different departments or ministries of government in terms of advising them as to how to proceed. I know within
So
the
as to
government,
protect the image of the
yes,
institution.
I know within the government structure, it is only the justice minister in most instances who can differ with the president's position. But I'm also aware that professionals who have to give their own professional pieces of advice to whosoever is the head of the country, or whosoever that is instructing or dictating to them, to use your words. I mean, there's a court ruling in the context, I think, either in the context of Liberia or in the country. You see, if somebody gives you a responsibility and you come to court and say, oh, yes, I was instructed by this person too. The court does not look at it, right? It looks at you who signed that particular statement. Who signed the statement? It is the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, and it is Jeremy Pia, because this is his signature. Because when Snow first responded to this statement, he was seeking clarity in terms of the authenticity of the statement. So myself, I mean, I've not been reading all of the statements from the Ministry of Information. I have to go on their page, I mean, the Facebook page, to see how he signs a press statement, right? And this is his, and he has not denied that the statement came from him. So as a Minister of Information, as a ministry, you advise the government. And whatsoever comes from the Ministry of Information, it is not necessarily attributed to President Josiah Yuma Boka.
Okay.
Who is responding now? It is Rufus Paul, because this statement, Rufus is aware of the statement. He might be the one that cleverly crafted the quotation. Unless he says he's not the one, he can distance himself from what I said. But it seems to be it is Rufus who did this quotation. I mean,
You know his writing.
It's not for us to discuss here. It's the Ministry of Information under the government statement. You can't add your BA to. That's
Yes. So Piatu is, perhaps difficult position. He might not have necessarily agreed, but in terms of what the government wants, I mean, as the executive branch, well, let it go.
Because he said he was instructed and dictated to.
Yes. And he's speaking again in generality. The government, and like Rufus, agrees with me, and Sandy, Snow is a part of the government. The only thing he's an opposition politician, but within the structure of our three coordinators, separate in the branches of the government. And so the minister will have to tread his position carefully, in terms of advising the president, advising some of the people who are giving the instruction, because Minister Pia should not just be seen as a kid that is instructed to.
No, not at all.
Whatsoever somebody says, he cannot give his own reactions in terms of advising as to how to go.
He's been a management function.
Because I mean, I've said something, and I could be wrong, right? I said, Pia, I mean, the minister, he's a communication czar, because he has been at that information ministry as one of the longest, serving persons. I know he has come and gone, and then he came back again.
He served as presidential press secretary.
He has been in the communication sector for a long period of time. So
he was an acronym or communication there.
So he's got the capabilities, and I'm not too sure people can override his thoughts on the issue, right? Perhaps he's attempting to absorb himself from the general reactions or from the statement itself to say, yes, it is the government. We know he's a part of the government or governmental configuration. So I will not agree with him that he was instructed to. I mean, or instructed. No, he did not use the word dictate. So you have to be careful to someone.
No, we should okay.
Will you briefly meaning I've not listened to that. I just have to be careful too.
So let's hear from Rufus before.
And one thing he said, the Ministry of Information did not fabricate, right? But the quotation that is here, the direct quotation, is it is a fabrication.
Okay.
I mean, in journalism, in research work, in terms of academics, I mean, when you're quoting somebody, it should come directly from the person.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, they've kept, I've listened to him, I listened to the minister, I've listened to Rufus. They've kept making reference to the interview Snow had on Spoon. Right. So that is the only evidence they have.
Okay.
And if it is the evidence,
No, don't be conclusive. Don't be conclusive.
enough to say Snow did make
Okay.
such a statement.
Many thanks. Let's try to hear from Rufus. We'll have to open the lines briefly. Let's hear from you, Rufus.
My boss, Jeremy Matthew Pierre, is a seasoned communicator, and he know how to pick and choose his voice. He have communicated the statement he issued that you just played. I mean, the interview he granted, it needs no interpretation. He nailed it, and that's it.
That's all you can say. Okay.
So were you the one that
Yes,
instructed
Saba.
him?
Yes, Saba.
He's saying you were
never-
instructed- Akan Moses. He's saying you were instructed.
Can I instruct my boss?
No, we're not asking who. We're just asking who dictated to him and instructed him.
This Zoom is a hard Zoom. The way you package the interview, you think you're going to catch me today?
Okay, let's hear from Moses. Let's hear from Moses. So open the last question.
Look, let me tell the assistant minister that Minister Pierre is a very good friend of mine. I consider him a brother. But coming from a professional angle tonight, if I were the Minister of Information, I would not have said what the minister said when he granted that news interview. To say that he was told to release a statement, go and tell the people this. We were told to do this. Let me help the assistant minister to understand a little bit. The Minister of Information is the chief media consultant to the President of the Republic of Liberia. When he speaks, it's for the country. So if you Minister of Information, that is where your expertise comes in. The president calls you, or people from the executive mansion, they call you here. This is the position that we want to take. And you sit and reason with them, utilizing your professional expertise. Look, I see in this statement your quotations, and you guys want me to go and release this statement to the public. How do I defend these quotations? Mr. President, I don't think we want to do this for now. We can speak to this issue, but we do not have to create quotes that are difficult to defend. They would have taken a very professional position on the issue regarding Edwin Snow. There was no need for direct quotes. So for the minister to tell us that people told him that you'll go and release a statement. We were detected too. I heard the minister say that. We were detected too. Go and release this. Then the minister indirectly implied
Julius
that he did not use his judgment, before releasing the statement. The minister is my very good friend. And when I meet with him, I would think I said, Mr. Minister, the news interview that you granted those guys, it's just an embarrassment. There was no need for him to tell the people that, people told him to release a statement. He is the chief advisor to the president on communication. If the people can listen to him, if I were in a position, I will resign.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's review.
I will not tell anybody say my boss told me I should do this.
You should be calling on Snow to resign. Your position tonight should be calling on Snow, who is encouraging sobriety activity, to resign. Who praying for a certain government to fail for him to come to power, to resign.
Assistant Minister Famula, let me say this to you.
I'm not Famula.
Let me say this.
If anybody is to be in resigning position,
Mr. Minister, let me complete. Mr. Minister, please. Let me say this to you. And I want to say this to the people of Liberia. I did not come here to speak as a fanatic. I came to speak as a citizen of Liberia, as a nationalist. You know, I have always told people that fanaticism is a disease, and I did not come here to be a blind follower. I came to speak here tonight as a
What are you
nationalist.
insinuating? What are you insinuating? That Rufus Paul is?
The assistant minister is a fanatic.
So that's your insinuation. Rufus, you heard him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Rufus, you heard him.
Ever since we sat on this platform, everything Sandy have been discussing here have been supporting Edwin Snow. Everything about it. To cry all that he's saying that the information minister should resign. So the man who said he will plunge the country, he praying for the country to fail, that has both diplomatic and security implications, you're not looking at it. Even investment confidence could be broken just by that statement. You're not telling him to resign. The information minister who issue statement on behalf of government, he the one he said there and say he should resign.
So,
Be
Mr.
serious when you
Minister,
come to
please
the
do not
public discourse.
misquote me. Mr. Minister, do not misquote me. And let me make this, someone please, let me take this 1 second to clarify.
Rufus,
That is what I said. Mr. Minister,
You can't keep
Mr. Minister,
clarifying.
please, let
This
me
show is not meant
clarify.
for clarification. That's
Yeah,
why when
Mr.
you come to
Minister,
the
allow
public
me.
discourse, you come
Mr.
with
Minister, let
policy
me
issue.
clarify my statement.
You come with
Mr. Minister,
policy
please.
issue. You don't come to be
Yeah,
clarifying.
Sober,
We
let
didn't
me
come here to
clarify
clarify. We
something.
come to inform the Liberian people.
Assistant Minister,
we have-
We
Assistant
brought
Minister, calm
information to
down.
give to the Liberian people and not to
I
get an open
understand. I
clarification
understand, Mr.
box.
Minister, please. Mr. Minister, please, let me clarify something.
The lines
This
are
is
blinking
what I
out.
So you have
said.
made a show to be clarification box. Is that how you want to reduce the show to?
Sober, let me complete my
Okay,
let me
Mr.
complete my
Rufus Paul
thoughts.
and Moses
Mr.
Sandi.
Minister, this is what I was saying. I said, if I were the Minister of Information, I hope Mr. Famula, you are listening. If I were the Minister of Information, I would now have granted a news interview telling a reporter that I was told to release a statement, that I was dictated to. I would not have done that. If I were told that, hey, I need to do this, even against my conscience, I would have resigned. I am not telling the Minister of Information to resign.
Okay.
I want you, because when you go, when you meet with Minister Pierre, you're going to tell him, say, Moses, and he say you should resign. I want you to listen. I want the people of Liberia to listen to me tonight. I said, if I were the Minister of Information,
Moses, let's hold you
and
there.
I offer my professional advice, and nobody refused,
Moses.
and people refuse to listen, I would have
Moses, let's hold
resigned.
you
That's
there.
what I said.
Let's hold you there. Julius, please, just a few seconds, we can open the lines.
Yes, just 2 points from the statements by the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. I think it is the third paragraph where they said, remanding Snow and others and other officials, who have vowed to use ECOWAS internal institutions or other international organizations, to either promote their selfish ambitions or plot destabilization. In terms of no citizen being licensed. If you say that Snow wants to use, ECOWAS internal institutions, other international organizations, that is too big of a crime, right? Snow is only within one architecture of ECOWAS, and that is the ECOWAS Parliament, right? President Boka is presently, if I'm right, perhaps Assistant Minister Rufus Paul can clarify. President Boka is presently in Abuja, celebrating the anniversary, half a century of anniversary of ECOWAS. He's among the heads of states of ECOWAS, and that is another level of ECOWAS, the ECOWAS Commission, for example. So, the Ministry of Information was too strong, right, to even be linking Snow to using, for example, ECOWAS internal institutions. For example, ECOMOC is an internal institution of ECOWAS, the ECOWAS monitoring group that came to Liberia for peacekeeping. Yeah. This morning I was listening to the BBC. A report was filed by Chris Ewoko discussing the institution of ECOMOC. You have ECOWAS representation in Liberia, for example. So to what extent is the ECOWAS representation in Liberia aware of what is, what the government is claiming, what the Ministry of Information, is claiming that Snow is attempting to do at the level of ECOWAS?
Do you think?
And besides that, the last, a part of the statements the government said it has got the capability, to respond, to any threat, right? So, what makes big force or something you can be able to handle security-wise? For the Ministry of Information through the Assistant Minister to be saying it has security implications, it has diplomatic implications, right? You say you have the capability of protecting the nation in terms of the security of the state. And so Snow, for me, I'm not 100% certain. Has got the capability as the government and has attempted to film, because they are linking Snow to different collaborators who they say who want to undermine and destabilize the Liberian government, right?
Okay.
I'm not too sure Snow, the present state he has got that capability. And when you say international organizations, you are mentioning like intergovernmental organizations, for example, who want Liberia to go into another, quote unquote, round of war, like Rufus is saying, or
so
to
let's
engage
take
in
few calls
subversive
quickly.
activity.
Let's take a few calls quickly. 0778-460793. Again, 0778-460793. That's the number to call, and you are live on the nighttime heat tonight. Is 0778-460793. Again, 0778-460793. You can call this number, and you are live on the program tonight. Good evening. Good evening.
So I'm leaving at 6:10. I have another engagement.
Yeah, sure. Good evening.
The heat is on.
Yeah, let's hear from you quickly.
On Moses.
You run away from the heat?
My name is.
You run away from the heat?
Please, gentlemen, let's listen to the caller. Yeah, your name again?
I'm Joseph, and I call you from Redfield.
Let's hear from you quickly.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the program, Sabah. Thank you to all of you. Sabah, I think the government.
Yeah.
Because I heard them making and they put out a statement, but I don't know what next. After the statement have been published to the Liberian people, what next? What are they planning for Ernest Snow? What did the government want to do to Ernest Snow for speaking out his mind as a Liberian citizen?
Okay.
What do they have? Let the minister tell us what next.
Okay.
Thank you.
You will talk about that. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, sir. Yeah, Pascal, let's hear from you quickly.
That you have to be the way you have to. But let me ask the minister. You said you didn't wish to but you protested at the executive marshal and hearing decided to speak. I remember there was a where people called for the sanction. You also supported that sanction on Liberia. I mean, sometimes your call may not be too verbal, but your actions infer that you actually against the problem. And so, why are we making little things out of these things? If so said the government should give a spring, why is it that the rest of the officials of government are not equally going to pray to ensure that the government succeeds of the budget? I mean, the president is using almost 1.6 million to purchase car. It is know that it's causing that to happen. Ministries of information is referring to execution. Remember when they saw them refer to judge as a mosquito brain? What did the government say? They backed that. So you can't come here and because you want to pay a salary and you think there will be no tomorrow. There will be tomorrow.
Okay.
And all of what you guys are doing is to have you recall it.
Okay. Okay, let's take another call on the line quickly.
Hello.
Good evening, yeah.
Yeah, my name is Albert Kemoga.
Let's hear from you, Albert.
You know, when they send some money, people from call and make regular statements and sound funny. But let's get to the issue. You know, in 2017, Nathaniel Maggio told us that Ernest Snow is an expert in interim administration. So it's not strange to some of us. So Ernest, who is part of the boat, he's praying for the boat to sink. And when they both sing, you should remember 1980 what happened. And not only one person, those that were part of the government, they know what happened to them. So, Edwin Snow, who have gone Riverside, but you are resisted by the old people in Riverside, he bargained for me. Today, he's talking about Muslim holiday, Muslim and Christian holiday. He's just jumping controversial confusion in the country.
Okay.
We don't want to go that route.
Okay.
We should be very careful.
Okay. Let's get another call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the show. Thanks to all of the panelists, and thank you to the minister in studio. Look, I love Liberia. You know, when some people who do not have the opportunity to go near government, and they come in the public and present themselves as Jesus Christ. Today, I'm hearing somebody calling a friend blind loyalist. That man who is saying that he ain't government job, today you will see what he will do. But let me say this, Edwin Snow, one of the things you journalists are not asking Edwin Snow to interpret is his statement that he prayed for the government not to do well. So when you pray for the government not to do well, it is the country you are praying for. That alone is dangerous. With his position in the region, that is dangerous. And Julius Kanaba and the others who prove to be critical, they are not asking that. They don't want to know. For a certain senator who is powerful in the region to say he's great, do you know what I mean?
Okay. You made your point already. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, my name is Washington Karen. I joined the from Pakistan Community District 13.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'm disappointed in Canada and Brother Moses on the panel tonight, because if they will be attacking the minister or if no will make such statements as of the young people in Liberia that just about to experience what they call development to this government, and then Snow wishing the government to fail, wishing for us to fail. And may I remind them that they are not in government, so that's what they're making that statement for. But if I was part of the legislature, I want to make sure that Snow are going to be recalled from ECOWAS because nothing good he will go push out there for Liberia.
Okay. You made your point. Let's take another call on the line. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is James KB. I'm calling from Mount Barclay.
Let's hear from you, James.
Yeah, okay. For the issue of Snow, you see, the matter is one thing. You can't be part of the team, then you're looking for the downfall of that team. Then you are a betrayer. Me, for me, I'm praying that Snow, he will not survive the whole year.
No, we can't be praying like that. We can't continue with you. Let's take another call on the line. Good morning. Good evening. Where are you coming from? Like, man, when I survive. Good evening.
Mr. George, how you doing?
I'm okay. Let's hear from you.
And this is Alan Chia from Power New Georgia.
Okay.
Pertaining to Edwin Snow's statement, there's one thing we don't understand and we aren't getting. If you listen to the statement, Edwin Snow said, I pray that Bwaka does not do well. He said, I pray that the government may fail. Let me get that clear.
Okay.
And the deputy minister should get that clear. He never said, I pray that the government will fail. He said, I pray that Bwaka must not do well. And there's something that is happening. This government is not a statement the real government is targeting. The government is doing something that Snow should be taken from ECOWAS Parliament like they do to Fufuratu Kofa. And that will not work.
Okay.
He said, I pray that Bwaka does not do well. He said the government should fail.
Okay.
You understand all our English?
Okay. You made your point. Let's take another call on the line quickly. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Jones. This is Zero Chupoma calling you from West Pancha.
Let's hear from you.
It is important to understand the historicity of ECOWAS with respect to the organization and the implication of Mr. Snow. What politically, locally, we have achieved is that he had claimed the population's attention, giving your studio guests with respect to the discussion. And if we can historicize our political history, 1989, when Samuel Doe said there was a need that the government was being undermined from the TRS reported that it's even implicated with respect to, but even they have access to President Doe at the time. Now I'm giving the TRC report. Can we with respect to the historicity? And if ECOWAS with respect to the delegation to like bro unannounced with respect to knowing that the president Republic of Boycott is not informed of the president. Can we reflect on 1990, September 90, therefore, too? Can ECOWAS get the implications, is taking care of who intended all this?
Okay.
We have to look at the historical intent.
Okay.
Mr. George.
Okay.
And then we have Mr. Snow. With respect to being a threat to the society and saying that the praise that the government feels, he makes understanding the implications of government, implicating the fact that the coordination must exist. Now, the respect to the minister position has to be directive on the basis of government, not on the basis of the president. Internally, the national legislature have got its internal intelligence security networking committee. So it means that the minister have been informed by the committee with respect to the role Mr. Snow has played, using the position of the delegation act. The intrusion to the politics with respect to the impact that also gave light as to why Mr. Snow has played a kind of a role that caused the kind of an impact.
Okay.
You may have recalled.
Okay, you made your point already. We can't keep you on the line long like that. We have to take other calls. Good evening.
Good evening, Joe. How you doing?
I'm okay, sir.
Okay. This is Melvin Tabo from Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
I think my dear brother. I've been following your show, listening to Rufus, the minister Rufus. I think he's not doing well for the government. If he had nothing to discuss, I think it was better than he remain quiet and then allow the government to go through the process. But he cannot put that himself to say he don't want to speak on behalf of the government because we had an issue in court or a hearing, and he still want to defend the government. So that means all what he's saying and that have been the government official position what he's speaking of today. But in fact, I'm surprised at unify government. I see them to be slow people, but because they are losing ground, and they can work after little thing that doesn't matter much. What matters that bring people is how they can transform people's life. But if you cannot transform people's life and you can feel it every day, do you expect opposition to pray for you? When Darrell Dillon once said you want a government for Georgia government to fail, you will stone Georgia government. No one took Darrell Dillon out of context. But responsible government will not go after citizens for making a statement. The reason why we have to use because they know for the world they are losing grip. You don't expect everybody to praise you as a government.
Okay.
I think when people are criticizing you, they should make you stronger to work on your mistake that they are not point out that they are not point to. But instead of going after those reputable men, it's not tell people that people are protesting. Melvin Canada, I will vote for him because I know where he comes from and what he stands for.
Okay.
So
Okay.
It's not a bit of stuff.
Okay. Many thanks.
But you use the whole airway.
Many thanks. You know, it's a foreign call. I mean, call from outside. Let's take another call on the line.
Cutting other people. That man talking.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. George.
Yeah, Rufus, that easy to know. Yes, let's hear from you. Yeah, let's hear from you. Go right ahead, sir.
Hello, Mr. George.
Yes, go right ahead.
My name is Edward Small Howard. I call from Dubai Road.
Okay.
Yeah, for Snow statement, as for me, I see nothing wrong with that. If Snow is saying that he wish for the government to be one-time government, so you that are in the position, you improve so that you can make sure that you manage a one-time government. But holding and pulling, for me, I'm looking at it that they are targeting Snow because after Fonantikova is out, Snow is the next. After Snow, who will be the next person? That the whole mission and only before the election can reach. That's my position.
Okay. Many thanks. We are not taking additional calls anymore. Many thanks. We really appreciate your time. Let's go to Julius, and then later on, after which we can go to the minister of the assistant minister of information. Yeah,
well, thanks to the different callers who made their points known. I just want to comment on the issue of prayer. I think prayer in Liberia can be taken in different contexts. We listened to Minister Augustine Nkwege Gafuan, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, when the USAID, through President Trump's policy, was being closed in the country in terms of its different project activities, Minister Gafuan spoke at an occasion. I think it was either before the legislature or somewhere else. He said we have, I have to paraphrase him because it's not a direct quote. He said we have to go to our mosques and our churches and us that can pray to pray so that the remaining projects, should not be cancelled. And it sparked a lot of debate that rather than having genuine conversations with the U.S. government, the minister was requesting Liberians to go to pray for USAID projects to not be closed. Snow is now saying, what I listened to on Spoon, in terms of the failures of the government, and as an opposition, is in fact praying that they should not succeed. So the bottom line is freedom of expression is allowed, right? We can't take Snow's comments out of context to say he's planning, as I listen to Rufus, subversive activities. Snow, from my understanding, he has got significant assets in Liberia in terms of investments. And besides Liberia, I'm not too sure he can survive in different contexts in terms of living and being a senior official of the government, right? So, yes, it's part of the conversations that we should have. Okay. But you can take him out of context without providing the pieces of evidence. And this issue of prayer, people go to church differently. Many people, when Charles Taylor was in this country, engaged in acts of oppression, which, of course, my colleague Rufus Paul reported on, when people were suffering in this particular country. People were praying for Charles Taylor to leave the country. And Charles Taylor, he operated his government, right? And so if the government is failing, even President George Weah, when his administration was failing, I'm sure Rufus Paul was quietly praying for the Liberian people to vote the George Weah administration out as a one term. This issue of one term, is being repeated. And so Snow has been mounting his own stance in terms of how he wants to be president of Liberia. Okay. So, like one of the callers said, perhaps they want Snow to be removed from the ECOWAS parliamentary delegation, but also because he's getting as a viable, like Rufus said, Snow has got followers. He's getting as a viable candidate, perhaps for 2029. Who knows? He could be a threat to other presidents in Boka, or he could be a threat to the next candidate of the governing unity party.
Okay. Let's hear from Rufus quickly.
Well, we are not yet talking about 2029. When the time comes, we dive into 2029. What we are concerned about is the well-being and the security of our people. This country have come a long way. This government is peaceful. We are maintaining the peace, and we not want anybody, regardless of your status, whether in opposition, no position, or in position, to come and jeopardize or tamper with the peace that we enjoy here. When it comes to followers, when I spoke of he having followers, we know the kind of followers that he carries. This man, all his life, what he have known is revolution. We know that. So I'm not talking about he has followers. He has followers to block anybody from going to the presidency. He supported George Weah. George Weah didn't win election here. He supported George Weah. So it's not what we are discussing. What we are discussing is that a statement has security implication, it has diplomatic implication, and it also has it could undermine investment in the country because the place it stands to talk is part of the government. And this government is not failing. That's the reason we are providing all the social services that Liberian people want. We have stable electricity that the past government made us to believe that it was impossible. Now we have road network that is ongoing, and we'll continue. We're now even taking road to the former president's hometown. In the next dry season, I believe when you wake up, you will see road in his hometown. Even Honorable Snow, the Western Liberia, when you were to drive, you go the whole Bushel Island, He see the transformation of the road process there. He's seeing pipe-borne water everywhere. So the government is not failing. We are here and we are not discussing failure. Edwin Snow can pray from now to Judgment Day. This government is not going to fail.
Okay, many thanks.
So
Many thanks.
that's my position. And thank you for hosting us tonight. I wish Sandy was here, but the heat was too much. And if you can't stand the heat, you have to run away. Next time I think the show should be early morning, because in the nighttime heat is too much. The heat have heated him out of the heat heated him out of the studio.
Big mouth.
The heat heated him out of the studio.
Rufus, thank you for joining us. Thank you, really appreciate it. Our president, the president of Liberia, let's hear your party comment. So, okay.
Well, thank you again, and thanks to you and your team for the invitation. We are always available to come and provide our little analysis of issues within society. Let's continue to promote freedom of the press, freedom of the media, freedom of expression, so that through the different discourses, the different narratives that we construct, in order those narratives can be able to contribute towards the development of Liberia.
Okay.
I agree with Rufus in terms of we us as a country moving forward, but I also do agree with Snow as an opposition. He has a right to express himself the way how he wants. This is a part of the consolidation of democracy in the country.
Okay.
Do I agree that the Ministry of Information has got the right, the mandate to also issue a statement? Yes, I do, but without fabrication or without taking something out of context. That is very essential because today it is Snow. Tomorrow, Rufus could be misquoted. And such a misquotation or a quote could be attributed to him when he has not said it and there's no evidence. So we hope that everyone involved in this particular discourse about destabilization, it's not a small in the war to use on a fellow letter officer of the country. And Rufus, just to say, Representatives or Senator Snow was a representative before he has significant followers who are good citizens of the country. He was elected again in Bomi County. I think since 2005, he has repeatedly won elections in the country. So all of his followers might not necessarily be bad people, or how you want to characterize or characterize some of these people. So, Saba, I tell you, thank you for the level of civility to the conversations. The callers made their points, but I hope all of us can understand the context about certain statements. And if Snow made a statement like a month ago, then why elevate the conversation after a month?
Okay, thank you very much, Julius Kanaba, president of Liberia president. We also had Rufus Paul, Rufus Kim as a journalist. He's also the assistant minister of information. Our panelist Moses was here earlier. He just left. Let's just recognize few individuals who were watching. Siliki Trawari, you didn't see where he watched from, where he was watching from. Roland W. Toh didn't say. Teddy Amos Conto from Gardner, so he was watching. Real Sipley, they didn't say. Ophelia S. George, so I'm watching from my home. Henry T. Toh Senior from Corwell, he was watching. Abraham B. Croman from Iron Factory, he was watching. Boyaka A. Cooper, he was watching. He didn't say where he was watching from. Maxwell from GS Roll. Marilyn Joa Griffiths, they didn't say. Joseph S. Nambe from Monrovia. Melvin Kandi Tabo, they didn't say what he was watching from. Sekou Talata Mohammed Sharif, watching from Upper Virginia. Yimpan Jilata Sinan, he didn't say. William K. McDavis, didn't say. Edwin Morba, didn't say. Clone Destiny Seaton from District 11. Well, thanks to all of you for watching and for listening. Also, thanks to our producers. They are always here by my side. Saba George is my name. Join us again on Friday. Hopefully, planning to host the man Creto Duncan, representative of Sano. He has some burning issue. So about Liberia, you'll be here on Friday. Until then, have a pleasant and a godly rest. Sabo George is my name.